Hello everybody, Carole Garrison with Carole's Creative Escape. I am so happy to be here tonight with you, hoping to inspire you with yet another card. My goal is to just simply spread joy one card at a time, and that's why I do these videos every Monday, just to give you a little tutorial on how to create a card that you can easily duplicate with whatever you have on hand and share that with somebody in your life, or perhaps even somebody you don't know but looks like they could use a pick-me-up. So again, Carole Garrison with Carole's Creative Escape. I've been stamping cards with Stampin' Up! For a little over 10 years, but making cards for many, many more years than that. And like I said, my goal is to simply spread joy one card at a time. So tonight, I am going to share with you a card that I created simply because one of my goals during this catalog year was to use up my designer series paper. I've been known to hoard that and not use it all up. And it's silly because it's such pretty paper, and it's good to be sharing that with the people around us. And so that is my goal tonight, or this catalog period anyhow. Excuse me while I make sure I am going live in the right place here. It's been my goal to be able to share that with people and use this pretty designer series paper and hopefully show people different ways that you can do that. And so that's what I'm working on tonight. As you know, we're coming up to the end of our catalog year. It'll end at the end of April, actually May 3rd, with the new catalog going live on May 4th. And let me tell you, I've got the catalog in my hands. I've gone through it. I can only show you a little bit, basically the cover. So here it is. It is gorgeous. And soon you should be getting catalogs in the mail if you've ordered from me in the past year. If you have not ordered from me and do not have a current demonstrator and would like a catalog, let me know and I will get something out in the mail to you once my order of catalogs arrive. One thing I do want to let people know is if they did place an order on April 4th, which was the first day that Last Chance products became available, that day turned out to be the largest sales day in Stampin' Up's history. Part of it was demonstrators or placing their pre-orders for some of the new products, and part of it was consisted of people taking advantage of the fantastic prices that were available on that Last Chance sales, which is still going on. Some things have sold out, but it's still out there. So if you haven't placed an order yet, make sure you go out to my online store and check to see what's on clearance. There are some things marked off up to 60%. So there's some great deals out there for people. But anyhow, the orders, because it was such a high volume, they've actually had almost every staff person in the building, including the CEO, downstairs packing orders, picking products off the line, that sort of thing, to get orders out. But right now it is taking longer than normal simply because of that volume. So if you did place an order, know that it's coming. And I ask you just to be a little bit patient while they're working their way through that. I haven't even gotten my pre-order. I was a couple days late in placing it. I shouldn't say late, but I placed it a couple days after April 4th. So I'm still sitting waiting for that pre-order to arrive as well. So anyhow, just an FYI on that. And now what I would like to do is flip cameras around and show you the card that I created, just trying to use scraps of paper. And let's get going here. Pardon my ceiling view and my hand as I get us hooked up to the next spot. We'll flip the camera. There we go. And now I need to get it hooked up to the plug-in because, like I said, I never want to run out of phone power when I'm doing one of my live videos here. Our weather, you guys, has been absolutely crazy. Last week we had temps in the upper 80s, 88, 89, 87, 86. This weekend we had a winter storm warning, and yes, we did get more snow. Not shovable, but it did stick to the ground, and our green grass turned white again. Fortunately, it all melted today. It sounds like we might get a couple days of rain, and then we may have a couple days of snow coming up as well. And hopefully that's going to be the last of it. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to share with you the card. I was inspired on this layout by Patsy Wagoner. She had it was one of her Sunday card layouts that she puts out sometimes. And I liked it because I had a lot of designer series paper that kind of fit the measurements of her cards in the layout that she was sharing with people. And I decided that I was going to use that, and then I kind of tweaked it to make it my own card as well. And so let me slide this out of the way, and I'll show you a couple of the examples, and then I am going to show you how to make this card, because it is fun and it's a great way to use up your designer series paper. So this first card was made using the Cottage Rose designer series paper, and it's basically early espresso and crumb cake for the card colors. And I just simply used a little bit of designer series paper for the background against the cardstock on this layer, and decorated it with one of the stamps that was in the Cottage Rose set. And then these, I used the crumb cake cardstock to back the designer series paper. And then on the inside, I'm actually using crumb cake. It's light enough you can write on it, people can see it. And I've got a little bit of designer series paper here as well, just to kind of dress the inside of the card up. The second card that I made is using and again, I'm just using my bits and pieces of designer series paper, so I probably can't even make a second one of these because I don't have enough of these patterns. Or it might have to be different measurements or whatever. But at least it was a way for me to use it up. This card, I flip-flopped how I had my layers, and I added an extra layer. This is using the sun. For some reason, I have never, this whole catalog, been able to get the name of this paper correct. It is Sun Prints. I actually was going to get it right this time. And this one I am using the kind of the gray tone, which is the gray granite tone on this card. And I really like it paired with Blushing Bride, which is one of the colors that we're going to be losing at the end of this catalog period. And because this is a wedding card, I used the little heart pearls on this card just to add a little pop to it. And then I kind of felt like this white was just a little bit too big. And so because there's ferns in this designer series paper, I ran it through the Fern 3D embossing folder after I stamped it and just added texture to that layer. So a little wedding card. Here's to be beautiful beginnings and happily ever afters. And then again on the inside, I have a lot of strips that are this size. So I added a little decor, and I kept it with the pink theme on the inside as well, just to decorate the inside up just a little bit more. Again, it's a light enough color that people can write on it. So those are those two cards. And then the card I want to share with you tonight, I'm actually using the Texture Chic designer series paper. The stamp set, thankfully, is going to stay in the catalog, the next annual catalog. But I am sad to see some of the colors going that coordinate with this paper. And one of those is Mango Melody. Just kind of sad that that color is going. I've liked it. Obviously not as many people as me liked it, or it would still be in the catalog as one of our colors. That's all right. It happens. And there'll be another beautiful color that'll come in that I will like just as well. So I'm going to give you the measurements for this card to start with. Lots of layers. And on this card, I'm trying to use pieces of the paper that came in that package. And I did actually open my catalog up so I'd be prepared. So it's the I want to make sure I'm giving you the right name. I'm using the Distressed Gold Specialty Paper, which is this one. And then I'm also using the Textured Chic Specialty Designer Series paper, which is from this collection. And I'm focusing on some of the brighter colors for that. And then I am using a couple sentiments from the Seasons of Chic stamp set. And like I said, both the stamps and the dies are going to carry over into next year. What will not carry over is the bundle discount of 10% if you choose to buy both these pieces. So if this is a set you've been thinking about and you want to get the dies with it, now would be the time to order it because you can still get it at that discounted price. Next catalog, both these items will still be available, but available at full price. So just a heads up. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started with measurements. So I'm starting with Mango Melody. This piece measures 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, your usual card base. And then I have a piece of basic white cardstock to go in the front of my card, or the inside of my card, and that's your standard 4 by 5 1/4. And here's where I start bringing in the layers. You could use cardstock, you could use designer series paper. You don't need to use any layers behind it, totally up to you. But my first layer that I'm working with is using that gold specialty paper. And this one measures, I want to make sure I get this right, 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I followed that up with a piece of the designer series paper that measures 2.5 by 5. And then I have another piece of the distressed gold. That piece measures 2.5 by 4 1/2. And then this layer will measure 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. I love that our designer series paper is made so that it coordinates well with all of the papers in the pack. Obviously some sides match better with other sides. But in this case, I think the colors really pull through and lend itself to being able to combine a lot of different pieces of this paper. Okay, and then my next layer is again a piece of that distressed gold that measures 2.5 by 3 1/2 with a final layer of designer series paper that measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. But wait, there's more. I've also got a piece of basic white cardstock, and this measures 2 by 3. I wanted to be able to stamp an image and have you see it, and obviously I practiced a little bit. And that's my B-side that I'm not going to be using. And I'll let you see what I've done on the front once we get going on this card. And then again, I've got another little piece of designer series paper. Not sure yet which way I'm going to go with that. I may end up trimming it down. That's about a 1/2 inch by something less than 5 1/4 and something just over 4 1/4 or 4 inches it looks like. It's just a scrap I pulled out and I'm going to figure out how to use it to decorate my inside. Okay, so to assemble the card, it's actually quite easy, as you can probably imagine, since it's just layers. We're going to start by folding our Mango Melody over on the score line, and I'm just going to burnish it so I get a good flat piece on the inside. And I did do some embossing with gold embossing powder. I figured since we already had the specialty paper with the shiny gold in it, I wanted to to continue that gold trend. And so I've got gold embossing powder on the inside. And then I just took my mini blending brushes and used my Blushing Bride ink and my Mango Melody ink just to kind of decorate that, make that pop out just a little bit more. And as you can tell, I got some ink on the bottom, which tells me that my little scrap piece of paper is going to go right here, and look at no more ink showing up. So let's go ahead and get that piece attached. I never fret about those ink spots like that because I just figure it's a chance for me to enhance the beauty of my card, or you know, embellish it just a little bit more. That's all it is. It's not a mistake, just a chance to decorate it up. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the bottom. Like I said, the decision kind of got made for me. I forgot that I had gotten that ink on there. So I'm just going to put it at the bottom. Who's going to know now? Except for anybody watching this video. And so let's go ahead and we'll just put adhesive on the back of this. Again, remember with the seal, you want to use a light touch and that check mark. And that does keep it flowing pretty evenly. When you press down harder on it, sometimes it'll gum up on you a little bit. And like I said, I'm just gonna put this on the inside of the card, and I'm centering it in there, and that takes care of that. And then I found it easier to start assembling my layers and simply putting the designer series paper on to the foiled gold or distressed gold. And so this is my piece that measures 2 3/4 by 5 1/4 with a piece of designer series paper that measures 5 by 2 1/2. And I know when I first showed this to you, I had the other side up. This is really the side I meant to use. And so that's where I've made that flip change real quick. These next 2 layers are 2 1/4 by 4 1/4 and 2 1/2 by 4 1/2 for the foiled gold. And I'm just gonna add the adhesive to the back of my designer series paper and attach that to the gold. This isn't like our normal foil paper. It's a much lighter paper, so it doesn't add a lot of weight to the card. All right, there's that layer. Then my last layer is going to be a 3-layered card, or 3-layered, section. This piece is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2, 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then my basic white piece is 2 1/2 by, 2 by 3. And I'm saving that because I want to show you what I did. Trying to let the designer series paper be the central theme, but again on this card I thought that white was just a little bit too blank, and so I took my gold embossing powder. Well, first I took my Mango Melody and my Blushing Bride inks, and I used this just splattered stamp in this stamp set. And I did 2nd generation stamping with the 2 colors and just kind of created that background. And then using Versamark, I stamped the thanks image in Versamark and then used gold embossing powder. And normally I like to try to flick off all the extra powder, but with this, because it is already kind of splattered, I actually let whatever accumulated on there stick around so you can kind of see faintly. I want to make sure I'm getting it on camera here for you. Little bits of the gold embossing powder that just set wherever it landed. And I figured that kind of fit with the splattered background. This designer paper has a little bit of splatter to it. So I thought it actually, for once, fit what I was trying to do. And this I am going to add onto here, going the long way, because obviously that thanks was not going to fit if I had it portrait. So I had to flip it over to landscape. But that's one thing that's cool about this layout, is it's very versatile. And if you don't have chunks the size that I have left, you can change the sizes, add an extra layer, whatever it takes. It doesn't have to be these sizes. Make it fit the scraps of designer paper that you had. I just happen to have those scraps available. So again, I am going to make sure I'm doing it the correct direction. Add with a little bit of it, oh come on Carol, you can do this. There we go. A little bit of adhesive to the back of these layers. I think I'm going to go back with this one over here. And I'm just trying to get it placed so that I've got even borders on the top, side, and bottom. And then we'll add our next layer. And on this one, I'm trying to match the border on this side with the border on that side, and then have it even spaced top and bottom. you don't have to do that. You can put them wherever you want. Okay, I'm going to add that there. And then normally this would run this way, but it would look silly. Well, I suppose I could have it go this way, but I didn't like the balance on that. So I'm just simply going to put my thanks on going landscape. You can still see all the designer series paper. I think that's just fine. And I've chosen not to use dimensionals. If you wanted to pop up a layer on dimensionals, go for it. This doesn't have to be exactly as I'm doing it. It's just what's working for me tonight. And I'm just going to kind of center this. Just try to center it here a little bit. Just slide it over just a titch. Okay. And that's how I'm going to layer that card. And then I do have some of these red and green adhesive back pearls, and there happen to be some that are gold, and so I'm going to go ahead and put some of those on. These kind of remind me of the starter earrings we got when we had our ears first pierced. Everybody wore gold balls, remember that? And oh, I think I'll just put it right there. And that card is done, and I've used up more of my designer series paper. I have been able to create thank you cards. I've made the wedding card. I could have done this as a birthday card. I just wanted to use that thanks stamp because I really like it. No other reason than that, but very, very versatile use of your designer series paper. The layout, you could work on it so that you ended up with a a landscape layout, or just simply flip the one piece around that needs to be laid out if you want a bigger sentiment like I did on this card. And there you go. So that's this week's card featuring the Seasons of Chic stamp set, as well as some retiring designer series paper. And really, I just want to show you how to use those scraps so that they don't just sit there taking up space in your valuable craft area. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.